So I was thinking about the concept of fear and how so often it holds us back and we don't let go of it. We just let it take up space in our heads. Now, fear is actually a good thing in some ways because fear is our brain trying to keep us safe. So I think first of all, thanking our brain for working to try to keep us safe is a very good thing. But then we want to learn to release the ones that are not good for us. So there are some fears that make perfect sense. If you have a fear of heights, okay, you could fall and die. That makes a lot of logical sense. If you have a fear of walking in a park in the middle of New York City in the middle of the night, that makes sense, like safety reasons, right? So those make sense. And a lot of our other fears, while they still make sense, we can work through them so we don't let them run our life. And some of those fears can look like fear of losing someone we love. That's a big one it's a big one for me too. It's a big one for a lot of us. And I think looking at what those reasons are and then planning around those, very helpful. Things like money. Money's a big one for a lot of us. So the things I will do, I will look at that fear. And number one, I look at the lesson it's trying to teach me. It may be teaching me that I'm not as prepared as I need to be. And sometimes you're way more prepared than you think and you just never feel prepared enough. That's different. But if maybe you're not planning well enough, maybe there's some sort of other lesson within that fear. So I think first learning the lesson, the takeaway, the nugget of wisdom in that fear is important. Because sometimes it's a fear that we're just letting run our life that makes no sense. And sometimes it's a fear that actually has a message for us that we need to take in and figure out. So I think first looking at that. Second of all, I will make a list of the reasons I don't have to worry about this. So for example, I will look at money. For example, I've dealt with a lot of fear of money in my life. I've been very poor at times and I'm doing pretty well now, but I was very, very poor for quite a while. So what I can do is when that fear kicks up, because we know even if we're doing okay, if we've had a problem with it in the past, it sticks around. And it's our brain trying to keep us safe so that we don't go through that again. So we have to thank it. But so one of the things I will do is I will stop and I'll look and go, okay, do I have enough skills that if something happened, I could go out and get a different job today? Yeah, I do. Okay, cool. That's an example for me of why I will be okay. Then I can look at, okay, well, how much do I really need to survive? How much do I realistically need to keep my house, keep my car, pay my essential bills? Even if I was being really frugal with things, what are the essentials I need? And then I can look at that and go, okay, even if I went out and had to get a minimum wage job, could I do that? So I can look at those solutions. So even if you couldn't find that job you want, what about a minimum wage job? Okay. And maybe you'd have to have a roommate so that you could pay it. Okay, that's a solution. Then I realize that even when I was dirt poor and we were eating all the food from a diner I worked at, that's the only food we had, is the food from where I worked. And even then, things were okay. I made it through it. So when I look at those moments and I go, okay, but I made it through it, we survived, it shows to me that I can make it through so many moments, even if I think it's going to be really terrible. So hopefully I'm explaining this well to you guys. My point is, if you go through and you learn the lessons from it in case there's something you need to know, if you truly are in fact prepared enough, and be honest with yourself. You don't want to think that when you're really well prepared, which I tend to be an over preparer and then I never feel like I'm prepared enough. So I have to take a step back, okay, and go, okay, what are my skills? What is my level of skill? Could I go out and get a job? Blah, blah, blah. And if I look at that and I say, no, actually I would be okay. Okay, be honest and don't over dramatize that you wouldn't find a job, for example. But also be honest if you feel like if you are prepared, but when you really look at the numbers, you're like, I'm really not. So be honest with yourself, look for those lessons and things maybe that you do need to do so you feel better. But then go through and just show yourself why you will be okay. Why you don't need to fear this so much. And some fears, no matter what we do, we're still going to have some of it, but we can lessen it. Like fear of losing a loved one, no matter how much we rationalize it, there's still going to be some of that hit still there because we love this person. We don't want to lose them. So some of these are harder to do that with, but you can still lighten it. You can still make it softer, you know? So I'm not saying this solves all the problems of any of these fears. I'm saying it can help, it can soften it. In some cases, it can help get rid of them completely. But in some cases, it just softens it, and that is worth it. So just something I thought I'd talk to you about because I am someone who have dealt with so many different fears, and they come up over and over. Because any of you know, if you've been through enough crap in life, even if you work through it, and obviously I do mindset work a lot, it still comes up because we've been through a lot. So our brain doesn't want us to go through that again. So it can come up, it can surface, and then we just work on it, and then we let it go. So I hope this helps you guys. Let me know if this helps, and I will talk to you guys soon. You guys have a good day. Bye.